Shalom, this is Amonute Tayac of Piscataway, Sophia Spiritualite, the AmaruKhan Miriyam, and we are here with a little quick video I wanted to make talking about the Diddler and the whole situation with him. And I only decided to comment on this a little bit because there's a lot going on. I don't want people to miss the big picture with this, sensationalism they're putting out. And I also want to maybe give some context to people who are not following along with the story, because it is important, because we do have a group of people among us who are indeed not like us and are our enemy, truly. And I think that the demonic nine, along with this whole network of individuals that call themselves the ones who are the Negro Wranglers, right? They believe that they are going to continue to rule our lives. And they don't see that the chessboard has changed, that they're no longer in charge. They no longer have the power that they used to. And I want us to keep a clear eye on this, because things are changing very rapidly. And so I just want to go through this story. I think it's important. I know that other people will talk about it, of course, but I usually have a pretty different perspective on things. So, of course, we know the Diddler, and that's what I'll call him, because that's literally what he is. Okay, let's go back a little bit. One of the sisters told me that his father was a member of a very notorious gang in New York. And so his father was actually murdered because they thought he went and turned state's evidence or something like that. So before you hear any of the rest of the story, understand you're dealing with a person who has been co-opted by the government, period. Because if the rumors are someone turned state evidence, then they did turn state's evidence. There's no rumors without, where there's smoke, there's fire. Everyone knows that. And so that means that 9 times out of 10, instead of taking down the whole bloodline like they should have, they allowed an individual, the Diddler, to stay in place, knowing that they could at any moment pull his cards and re-traumatize him, right? Due to the death of his father. So you have then this man being put on by Clive Davis, who is a monster, an absolute monster. And nobody can't tell me that after how he did Whitney Houston. And y'all know better than me. I wasn't there, so I'm far too young for this. But just what I've read, just what I've heard other people say, there's no reason why this man should be freely walking the streets. And yet he's the one who is the mastermind behind Bad Boy. So then you have Bad Boy come out, and then you have all of these, strange, unusual murders happen. You have all these children allegedly being abused, and all this crazy stuff is going on, right? And so what is the big monumental shift in that? Well, you have Biggie Smalls, who was getting ready to release his final album with the label. He was going to move on to a different label. Whatever he was going to do, he was getting ready to do it. And all of a sudden, he's taken out. And whatever happened to his last album? It never got... Well, next thing you know, Jay-Z's just some dude on the street. Now he's Kingpin. Okay? Camel. I should call him that. That's mean. Hova. The fake Jehovah. Next thing you know, he's running the streets. And guess what? He did a whole tour that has been taken from everybody's mind, called Best of Both Worlds, in which he was on tour with R. Kelly. And so then you have this whole thing with R. Kelly, and then this stuff with Aaliyah. Well, Aaliyah didn't like Jehovah. She liked Dame. So then you have struggling Beehive over there. Can't keep it together. Can't talk, basically. And what happens? All of a sudden, poof, Aaliyah's out the system, and now the Beehive is on the rise. Like, you can't, there's no way you can't put all these stories together. This goes hand in hand with what I have previously said in my theory about Ron Isley and that whole circuit in the 60s with these girls and all this stuff that was going on. Is a lot going on, and you can, I won't get into all of that because I just can't. But we're talking about the Diddler. So what you may not know is that Cassie's legal team is the same legal team that was employed by the Harvey Weinstein victims. Okay? And so this is why she was able to get a settlement in less than 24 hours. They assumed, or the Diddler's people assumed, that they would get a settlement in a few hours. This thing would just go away and he could go back with young Miami and ruining, you know, countless talented Negroes' lives forever, basically. And so Cassie gets her deal. She takes her cash. She's gone. Now the FBI has to investigate. Why? Because very serious crimes were alleged in that document. So I'll use the term allegedly. In the document, allegedly, and this is why I want to go into this, because a lot of this stuff is like kind of being talked about on Twitter. I know it's being talked about on TikTok, but I just want to pull it into a complete narrative. So here's some of the things that allegedly happened between Cassie and the Diddler. Allegedly, one of her friends had their car blown up because this person, whom we believe is Kid Cudi, was friends with Cassie and got into it with the Diddler. And next thing you know, his car is blown up. There's a few pieces of evidence, social media evidence. One is there's a person who was tweeting about the fight that happened between Kid Cudi and the Diddler. There is an album that Kid Cudi put out in which there's a whole explosion on the cover of the album. And then you have many people know that this happened. Why? Because there was another incident that was reported where another one of Cassie's friends gets into an actual fight, another actual fight with the Diddler in a club. And apparently this was J. Cole, who got into another rapper who got into a fight with the Diddler because the Diddler was getting ready to throw a drink at Kendrick Lamar. And so you have J. Cole intervening. And after that, I remember this, he didn't drive a car. He rode a bike everywhere around North Carolina. And I was like, dang, he signed a deal and he's riding a bike. Why? Because he knew that someone had blown up Kid Cudi's car. And so to make sure he didn't have his car blown up, he didn't take a car. Another situation. Cassie has another friend. I guess they're hanging out or something and, you know, platonic. And the Diddler comes in, hangs this man out the balcony by his feet. Apparently, this is something that happened to Wale. And I take particular offense at that because Wale is from the DMV and he's Nigerian. And he's not like that. I've met him. He's not no type of fighter at all. It's actually ridiculous that people think he's from the city, you know, because he's not a fighter. He couldn't defend himself. Really, he doesn't do that. If number one, number two, Nigerians aren't like that. Nigerians are aggressive. They'll talk you to death, but they're not about to throw no hands. That's not how Nigerians conduct themselves. And so for the Diddler to hang this man out by his feet onto a balcony, that's a little bit excessive. For whatever reason, it's excessive. 2 more stories that are not what is alleged. I saw a video in which Usher was recounting how he can't sleep. And you may or may not remember that the Diddler actually had custody of Usher at 15. And then you hear about Usher and his way older girlfriend. Very much gives me Michael Jackson and Diana Ross vibes. And so that's one thing, one point. And then what happens next? Well, Usher signs a upcoming talent from YouTube named Justin Bieber, and he has to go spend the weekend with the Diddler. And there's a video circulating of I guess someone interviewing Justin Bieber, and or the Diddler asking Bieber, "Hey, why don't you come and hang out with me anymore?" And he just gets very, very quiet. And this is on top of the countless videos from Jank Champs and everywhere else of him emasculating men to their face, with no response, with no impunity. So I say all this to say, the Diddler is not the top of the totem pole. I don't want these people to think that for some reason we believe that the Diddler is it. Once you get the Diddler done, then we got R. Kelly, we got the Diddler, that's it, we're good. No. We want I want justice for Whitney Houston. How about that? What was done to her is ridiculous. So whoever is responsible for ruining that woman's life and ultimately removing her life from her, that person needs to come to justice too. So don't think that you're just going to give us the Diddler. He's blatant. We want the non-blatant ones. What about what was going on in the 60s? See, I listen to 60s music and 50s music and 40s music. A lot of things have been done to our artists, our female artists, especially our talent of a generation women, okay? And I am not okay with you all throwing us a bone of the Diddler and thinking that everything is going to be okay and the Negroes is just going back to sleep. That train has passed. I really remember in the springtime begging you all to pay our women to pray for you, and not just any of them. The ones who really have the sauce. The ones who really have the sauce. I begged you all, please have us pray for you. Let us help you work on yourself. Let you be a better person. All of that. All of that. We've mourned your loss. So you won't get any sympathy tears from me as this whole show begins to unravel. I'm not going to cry a single tear. I'm not going to lose a wink of sleep as you all pay for the crimes that you've done to our women. I will just say this. I don't have to know who every guilty party is in this scenario, because there's someone who was watching, and it wasn't Santa. Okay, y'all got a whole legion of spirits that have been watching every crime, making a list, checking it twice, and the people who are on the naughty list are it's gonna be lumps of coal. That's just how it works. I don't have any control over that, and I just want to keep in mind this was the point of this fast, this 22-day fast, and every 22-day fast we'll do until this problem is resolved. These people need to be removed, and I don't feel one bit of sympathy for them. Zero. Because they had no sympathy for their victims. And some of these victims, as in Usher, as in Bieber, these were young people. These were people who should have never been exposed to this kind of stuff. Not to mention what the Diddler has done to his own children, how he destroyed their lives. You expect for me to just forgive that and hey, he apologized. I tried to post a picture. Let me see if I can show it. I tried to post a picture, it wouldn't let me post it. I got this from B Dell's Twitter feed. Wouldn't let me post the picture. I'm gonna see if I can show it on the stream without getting my video taken down. Although I don't really care. This what your man think he can do. He think he get some amethyst crystals in there and some sage, and he just gonna all them demons is just gonna fly right off of him. It doesn't work that way. It simply doesn't work that way. And so this video doesn't have to be long. I just wanted to make that point that this is not good enough. Of course, we take the Diddler's takedown as a victory, a convergence of things that just came together, and we, of course, are mourning. We send sympathy to all of his victims, the ones that the Spirit has counted and will get justice for. Justice will be got, including for his from his wife, Kim Porter. We show heavy, deep sympathy for those individuals, whether they knew what they were getting involved with when they started dealing with him or not, is not the point. The point is a victim is a victim. And even if he was also a victim, you had a choice not to turn around and become a victim yourself. This is much like the takedown of Jehovah, which we will not be upset about, or the Beehive. I'm sorry, you had a choice to have been a victim and then turned away from that. Speaking of the Beehive, before I forget this, I want you all to understand that there's really no innocent people in the music industry, just in general. If you have a major whatever deal, you're not innocent, okay? So I'm not vouching for any of these people. But there's levels of it. There's levels to it. And some of the ones who haven't been as deeply involved, you're more than welcome to come over to our women, the ones who are authorized, and have us pray for you and help you develop a path to healing. Many of our women would be okay to help with that. You know, the offer still stands for those who want to repent and get it together. But you got to come to our women. You can't just go to anybody. You can't go to one who's not authorized. And you're going to get yourself in trouble going to someone unauthorized, burning your own sage. You best not burn no sage. You best not light no candles. Don't pick up no crystals. Everything's going to tell on you, okay? But that's not what I want to say. There is a person who is the diddler of the gospel music world, and that would be Beehive's daddy, Matthew Knowles. He is the kingmaker of the gospel music world, and I don't want him to be missed. Okay, this is why I never got involved. I couldn't get involved in the industry at all. When I saw who the kingmakers were, I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I decided I was going to do something else. And I still intend on doing that, but I just want people to understand, when you start seeing the pins fall in the gospel music world, just understand that the heads have to roll as a result of what Matthew Beehive did to all the... Oh, Lord have mercy. All I can say is Lord have mercy. The church is already in shambles. By the time this thing is done, all black institutions is going to be just destroyed, demolished. Just going to be nothing left. And I am... I feel sorry for the people who have no idea what's going on, and they're going to get the rude awakening of the truth. I do have compassion for those individuals. And that's what we have to do. We have to have compassion, try to explain as much as we can. That's why I'm giving you all this whole background, so that when somebody they just don't understand what's going on, you can explain to them, no, all of these people are paying for what they've done, okay? Nobody is innocent. No, not one single artist is innocent. I see now that they couldn't get to Rihanna, and so now they're attacking her husband, ASAP Rocky. They're probably going to remove him from the home. It's really sad what they're doing, but nobody is innocent. Nobody is innocent. And if one rat is going down, you best believe he gonna take everybody with him. But the one that Diddler better remember to take is Clive Davis. Don't go down this ship without him. It's gonna be even worse for you. So you best get ready to turn on him. Because anybody who thinks that they can force somebody to engage in explicit sexual acts against their will, because they have that much power, is not somebody who, they didn't come to that conclusion on their own, number one, and number two, they saw it from somewhere. They learned it from someone. And hey, I'm not making no accusations. I'm just saying everybody got to go down. Y'all not gonna leave. Ain't one rat gonna be left on that ship. The whole ship got to go down. Okay, so don't try to protect anybody. You best to save yourself. That's all you got right now. If you wanna get to live any more of this human life that you've got, you better give it all up. That's all I can say. There's no way you can't protect anyone, not from the wrath of the Most High. So I don't suggest it. So that's all, everyone. Shalom, peace and blessings to you, and we will see you in the next video.